What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Crip, and today we're going to talk all about TwitchCon. How was it? If it's necessary, who should go, and overall my thoughts and feelings on the event. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so you know when I post a new video, and then like this video because I promise it's going to be dope. And if it's not, at the end of the video, if you feel inclined to do so, you could take away the like. So this year, 2022, I flew to San Diego from Florida. I went up to New York, then to Florida. Don't ask me why. I mean, it's JetBlue is the reason. JetBlue made me fly up to New York too. Anyways, got to San Diego and it was nothing but TwitchCon. My main goals of TwitchCon this year were to network, go to a few panels so I can get a few bits of information and talk to as many developers and sponsors and product creators, talk to enough people just so I can get my name out there, get my face out there. Those were the three objectives. So on the first front, networking, I did a lot of networking. I want to go ahead and pat myself on the back. I talked to a lot of people. I put my face out there. I engaged in conversations. I started conversations. I know this sounds crazy. It's like, Crip, you're a streamer. You do this all the time, but it's very different to do in person. I hate networking, but I know in order to grow, I need to network. I need to get my face out there. So I did a bunch of networking. Shout out to all of my friends who are in the industry who have been helping me on this journey. I love and appreciate you dearly. I know it takes me a while to reach out for assistance. It's just something that I need to work on, but there are a lot of people in the industry that I know that have been helping me and pushing me because they believe in me, and that's super dope. So thank you. But yeah, on the networking front, I left this conference. I had an idea going into the conference for a podcast. I didn't know exactly what the podcast was, but I know that I wanted to engage in more conversations with creators. I believe that we as creators need to share more of our stories, our ups, our downs, our pitfalls, our triumphs, all that stuff. Because when someone else hears that story, they may be going through something similar. And so hearing that story might encourage them to keep pushing forward. In the same token, it's always dope to hear somebody who is in a position that you want to be at, talking about the things that they experience, the things that they worry about. I think those conversations are very necessary, very needed. And so going into TwitchCon, I had an idea for a podcast, but it was, you know how you get when you have a new idea. Some of us doubt ourselves. Some of us think there's enough podcasts in the world. Why would I waste my time making another one? But I still had this idea. So after talking to a numerous amount of people at TwitchCon and just vibing with people that I've talked to for years, that I've streamed with for years, and just engaging in conversations that we don't have time to do during a stream. And sometimes we might pop off in a Discord channel, but just having a one-on-one conversation with a bunch of my favorite streamers was very, very enlightening to me. Two things came out of this. One, it solidified the idea that I am definitely going to push forward with this podcast idea I have. Again, I think it's very necessary to engage in conversations with like-minded individuals to push ourselves forward in this creation journey. And two, I really like talking to people in a certain situation, in a format, of course. I just like randomly talk to people, but people who share an interest that I do, I like picking their brain. I like engaging in conversations with them. Shout out to Holly. I was fortunate enough to get invited to a breakfast brunch situation one day while I was in San Diego. And I gotta be honest, I was going there to see Holly because I haven't seen my friend in a few years, and I was going there to eat. That's it. I wasn't really going there to network, but a few opportunities did come from that breakfast and it was super dope. The craziest story though, I'm not gonna put this person's name out there because he might not want to be known like that. I don't know. I'm not one of those dudes that chases names like, oh, I got to hang out with so-and-so. So I'm not gonna name him. But I'm just gonna say this. I was sitting down, enjoying my breakfast. I had a scone. Didn't know what a scone was before that, but I had a scone, thought it was a biscuit. It was not a biscuit. And I had like coffee or something at a table by myself. Because again, I'm not going there to network. I went there to see my friend, saw her. She was working, so I didn't want to interrupt. And I'm here to eat breakfast. So I sat down, began to eat my breakfast, drinking my coffee or whatever. And someone just randomly walks into the restaurant, sees me, and they're like, hey, is it cool I sit here? You look like a cool dude. I want to sit here with you and eat my breakfast. I was like, cool, let's do it. So he went and got his breakfast, sat down. He introduced himself. I heard his name and I thought I heard what he said, but then he introduced himself with his real name, which I was like, that's dope. I kind of want to start doing that. Anyways, he gave his spill, said who he was. He's like, hey, I love talking, but I just sat down with my breakfast. If you don't mind, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take the baton. I'm gonna introduce myself, let you know what I do. You go ahead and eat your breakfast, enjoy. And so I just gave my spiel, talked about, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And we just chopped it up for like 30 minutes. And then other people started sitting down. It wasn't until the end when I realized who it was. And even then, it wasn't like yeah, it's a big name, big streamer, whatever, but like, I don't engage with his content like that. I totally respect and admire what he has built, but again, I don't watch his content like that. But that conversation we had was priceless. I wish I was recording that entire conversation because we talked about everything and nothing at the same time. I learned a lot in that 45 minute conversation, and I am grateful for having an opportunity to have it. So with all that being said, that's what I want to do going forward. There will be a podcast in which I will be interviewing one creator of any genre per week, bi-weekly, per month. I don't know, haven't figured that piece out yet. I just know I want to be interviewing people. There will be 3 questions that I ask these individuals, always the same question, and we will see where the conversation goes from there. I don't want it to be too long, I don't want it to be too short, but I also don't want to put a time frame on it. So I want the conversations to be as natural as possible. They will be recorded, they will not be streamed. There will be a video podcast, there will be an audio podcast, and if I can figure it out, there will be a word book to go with it. I'm just But at the end of the day, going to TwitchCon was very, very good for my creative brain. It was very good for my social battery. It was very good just to network again with like-minded individuals. And I can't stress that enough. Talking to people who are into the same things that you are, who are on the same grind as you are, is very, very, very good. Very good for you. I am super excited to see what the next leg of my journey is. I have a few ideas in mind. The podcast is definitely going to get up and running. I just need to wrap my head of what the name is, where I'm going to put it at, how often are we going to do it, nail those 3 questions, then I'm off to the races. What I recommend streamers go to TwitchCon. I will say this. I don't know if I would recommend you going to TwitchCon. I do recommend going to an event that is for content creators or for something that you're into with friends. I think it's very important to go to these locations, at least with a few people that you know, but also with the intent to meet new people while you're out there. I think the conversations that spur up on a late night at a bar are invaluable. These are not conversations that you can get in a Discord call, although there are some dope Discord calls that produce some pretty good gems. Doing it in real life, it just hits different. I used to not think that, but now I do. Other than that, I'm gonna leave you with this question. You can leave your answer in the comments below, or you can just think about it to yourself while you're on your lunch break. But here's the question. What inspires you to keep creating? What keeps me creating is it's just joy. I get joy out of creating. Simple as that. It is the quickest route to joy that I have. It's constant. It's rarely like, oh my God, I hate creating. No, it's almost always joy. There's things around creating that make it not joyful, but the act of creating and editing and putting something that was in my head to paper to share with the world is a joyful act for me. So that's what keeps me creating, or it inspires me to create. You heard the question. Leave your answer in the comment below. Until the next one, keep creating content, protect your mental, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.